I get a significant number of questions about in-roof solar panels. Is a particular type and style of installation. One of the most common set of questions is, how do I understand if my roofer knows how to install this? What goes on in the installation, and what are all the parts and components, and kind of what do they do? Is this the right installation method for me? Well, you've joined me today at the NEC in Birmingham, a little bit away from Manchester where we're based, where I'm just going to have a bit of a walkthrough in terms of the in-roof system, so you know all the parts and sections that goes into this installation, so you know if it's the right installation for you. GSE is the brand and manufacturer we currently work with that enables the in-roof installation to take place. At this point, envisage that your roof would be stripped back. It will be felt and battened. Now, normally you'd have a fire felt under here that effectively is fireproof. Your roofer then leaves and allows your installation team to start. Now, your installation team start by installing these plastic trays. Now, these are different sizes depending upon the size and wattage of the solar panel that you're having installed. Your installer will install a series of battens underneath that give the bottom of the tray support so that rain can run off. You then install these lateral flashings. Behind these lateral flashings here is a piece of foam. Stops water from ingressing into the side onto the felt behind the actual roofing system. We have this flashing here that sticks on top of the actual roofing tile. So rainwater essentially flows from the top, can run behind the trays, off and down onto the tiles. This system can also flash into a guttering as well, so you can use an eave support tray that sits underneath this tray that runs straight off into a guttering. So if you need to take this panel pretty much right to the base of the roof to where you would find a guttering, you can run that there as well. The panels then just simply, they've got these clamps that sit alongside, and these clamps rotate. The weight of the panel actually sits on top of these, and these pin it from underneath so they don't move and the wind essentially can't pull them up. Looks quite scary for you as an end user, but actually it's quite simple and straightforward to install. In a second, you're going to join me with Shane and with Ricky, and we're going to be talking a little bit more about the training that's involved behind picking the right installer for you. And we're also going to be talking about a new product that they've got, which is landscape, so the opposite way around, GSE in-roof panels. So we've seen the portrait GSE integrated system, which is the one that we fit most commonly. However, this caught my eye. It's actually a landscape version, and it's new. Now, previously GSE had a landscape version, but it wasn't compatible with some of the latest panels effectively. But this one is, and it's been fire and type tested from my understanding. So I've caught Shane, who's you'll have to describe your title, Shane.
Business technical developer.
So he's one of the senior team within GSE, and he's going to be walking me through today all the things you need to know about the GSE landscape system. So Shane, what's different with this than the portrait system that we've just seen?
So obviously the most obvious one is the direction of the panels. So we've taken it from a portrait into a landscape system. So that's the main difference. Obviously, it's for that particular system. The frames themselves are different, so it's not compatible with the portrait. So you can't link them together.
So you'd have to have them as two separate arrays?
You have to have them, but you can put them together, you know, if you had one above the other with some flashing. So
okay.
They just won't overlap with each other. The biggest one is you've got your rails as well on the bottom row for support, and the panels are actually clamped in the middle rather than on the sides like they are with the portrait.
So effectively, from an end user's perspective, it's largely extremely similar to the portrait version, just a couple of amended brackets, and now for those awkward roofs where you can't quite get the portrait to sit where you want it to do, we can now adapt this for a landscape version.
Correct.
And be inset in the roof.
Correct.
Am I right in saying, obviously, this is an all black panel, this is compatible with various different shapes and sizes of panel, all the kind of standard ones that a domestic user would expect to see?
Yeah, so it'll hold up to, so different frames for different sizes, but we'll do it, the largest we'll do at the moment is up to 2 metres.
Okay, so it can have a fairly big
2
panel.
metre long
so even
panel,
like a small commercial business, for example, could adapt a GSE landscape system.
Yes.
Shane, talk me through the major differences between portrait, which you've already shown on the channel, and these landscape versions that you can see here.
So a big difference is obviously this top flashing here. So with the portrait, you can use the flexible waterproof strip, which you roll along the top. With the landscape, it's the aluminium top flashing. And the biggest differences with this is actually designed to go under the panel. So with the rain is designed to run between the panel and the tray and run down the roof, run off the roof that way.
So I think from an end user, there's not a massive amount of difference, but these might make it a tiny bit more expensive when you're doing it landscape versus portrait, marginally. And aesthetically, I think you'll be able to see the fact that there isn't actually that much of a gap anyway, to be honest with you. So it's broad as it is long, really, isn't it? It's just landscape versus portrait on a GSE in-roof.
Yeah.
There is a particular way within which to install GSE, and you have to be trained. Now, our in-house team are trained by the GSE team. They very gratefully came to one of our sites and physically taught us how to do it before we get started. And we do regular training with them. But so that you know as a consumer, let's say you're away from Manchester, you can't pick us, which I'd love you to do, but essentially you can't pick us and you're thinking, I need to pick a GSE installer that I know knows what they're doing. Well, GSE are introducing a bit of a training session, so it's something that's being introduced at the NEC in Birmingham here today. And I'm with Ricky, who wants to tell you just that a little bit more about it.
Yep, so we will be launching a new training program for installers, and that will show you as consumers that those installers know how to fit the systems correctly. The roof is going to be watertight and the system is going to be as you want it for the rest of the years. The training program will be a day long for installers, so they'll really get into the nuts and bolts of how the system should be installed and how to install that correctly for the best finish.
We've been on your almost informal training, but now this is formalised. So you could go onto the GSE website. I believe it goes live in 2 or 3 weeks' time, and hopefully we're going to be one of the first ones on the course. But effectively, that you would be able to go on the website and alongside checking things like MCS accreditation, NIC or NAPIT accreditation, and all these other good things that you need to check, like manufacturer installers. If you're going for a GSE, an inset in-roof system, you'd also want to go on the website and check out the fact that that installer has done the training. And Ricky was just pointing out a second ago that the portrait and landscape, so the version we've just seen a second ago, are two completely different training sessions that the installer must undertake, only for competent installers, of course.
Yep, so initially our training sessions will be on the landscape systems. So when you are looking to get that landscape system installed, that's the first batch of training that will be happening. And then on top of that, the installers will then be able to add the portrait systems at a later date. The main reason for that is that the landscape is a slightly different system to our current portrait, and we just want to make sure that that new system is being installed exactly as it should be from the first day from launch.
So I think for consumers, top note, make sure you go on, if you're thinking of in-roof and you're picking GSE, make sure you go on the GSE website and make sure your installer is actually accredited with GSE to make sure you don't get any nasty surprises when you install. That's all from the GSE integrated in-roof system. I've done a full deep dive on in-roof versus on-roof on our channel, so don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this today.